Okay, so looking at this one, we can see that we're going to have to construct a couple of circles using this rectangular kind of way from this center to this center. We also see we have a polygon on the inside of this one. And the rest of this is kind of really simple, but we're going to use this one on an A-size title block. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch over to AutoCAD and start working. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go ahead and start with a circle that has a radius. And let me go ahead and close my properties box to give myself a little bit more graphic area. So circle, radius, click here. It has a radius of 0.5. And I can use a O-snap to use the from option to create the other circle, but in this case I'm just going to go ahead and create a skeleton for you. So I'm going to draw a line from this endpoint and go up a distance of 1. Let's make sure that we have our ortho turned on first. So let's go 1 that way and 6 this way. Alright, now we're able to create our circle that has a diameter of 2. So let's use circle, center diameter, click this endpoint, and its diameter is 2. Let's go ahead and create another circle on the inside of this that has a diameter of 1. So circle, center diameter of 1. And I don't have to put this circle here, but I wanted to show you a good graphic area of when we're using the polygon command. Let's go ahead and place our polygon. We have 6 sides. The location of the center is at this endpoint. And then inscribe to circumscribe. So what I mean by looking at the difference between these two is that inscribe would mean that the endpoints are touching the circles. And circumscribed means that the side is touching. So I'll choose circumscribed. And then I'll click on this quadrant. Let's go ahead and delete these 2 objects. So I got those 2 lines and my circle on the inside. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create our circle that's on the outside of here. We can try to do that with the fillet command. Let's change our radius to 6. And now you got to be careful on what you select. I want that circle to go to the outside of here. That circle can also be created in this U shape here. So I want to select somewhere along the edge of this circle over here, and somewhere along the circle of this edge over here. And you can see that AutoCAD automatically figures and say, hey, I want to put that U here, but this is incorrect for this one. So what I have to do in this case is use a circle with a tangent radius. When I use this option, I have to select these same 2 points, so here and here. Then I'll locate my radius, which is 6. And you can see that now I will get the correct orientation of my arc. Let's take a look at the one on the inside, and I'll demonstrate with the fillet command. So let's go to fillet. We want that circle here and here. And I just forgot I did not change my radius, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this line. Go back to fillet. Radius is 4. And now let's go on the inside here and here. And AutoCAD should have no problem picking that up. Let's go ahead and trim this. So we're going to trim off this portion and then this portion. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start creating our top view. I'll start by drawing some construction lines that are vertical. I'll start with this quadrant out to this quadrant, and you can see that that's the overall length of this. Next thing I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and put a vertical line here. I'll put a vertical line between each one of these endpoints, so here, and then this one, and then this one. And I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to find the vanishing edge of my arc, and I'll put a line right there. Once again, this vanishing line here is a little bit special, so I like to highlight it and make sure that I know that it's different from my other lines. So I'll select it and go ahead and make it a red. Okay, let's go up to the top Let's just create a horizontal line going straight across. We do have some heights that we can go ahead and put in. So let's go to copy, select this line. My base point could be out here since I'm moving at a distance. I'll type in 0.75. My first distance, 1.87 as my second distance, then escape. I'll use the offset command and put in 0.63 as my distance and offset this line going down that direction. And then I'll hit escape. Now I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We can use the trim command if you want, or we can use EX trim to knock out these without having to go down and trim out all these lines underneath, or we can select the cutting edges in the trim command. I'll use EX trim this time. So remember, you have to type that in. Select this line, click anywhere below it. I'll just select the enter button on my keyboard, select this top line, and click above. Select enter again, select this vertical line here, and click to the right, enter, and then select this line, and click to the left. Okay, so some of the things I want to go ahead and do is that I see I have a few fillets on here, and the fillets are not listed on the drawing, but all of those fillets have a radii of 0.125. So I'll go to fillet, I'll adjust my radius, so I'll make that 0.125. I have more than one, so I'll choose multiple, and now I'll start creating my shape. So I know I have a fillet between this line and here. Remember, when using the fillet command, you want to select the lines that you want to keep. So I'm doing my fillet around here. I have a fillet located at this location. I have a fillet located here, around here, one here, and then that special line that I told you to make sure that it's red. Let's go ahead and select this line and this red line there, and then that'll give me my fillet located at that location. Let's go ahead and erase, or hit escape. I can erase this red line now. And let's finish this up with trim. So let's go to trim. And I know I need this line to be trimmed all the way to here, so I can start furthest out here and trim. These lines need to be trimmed up. Let's go ahead and do this one as well. These all lines need to be trimmed down to this location, starting here. I will trim these lines down to that location, like so. Okay, so everything that I needed to complete this drawing now, just the drafting portion of it, is complete. Let's go ahead and bring in our title block. Once again, I will use the classic insert instead of the new 2021 insert, because usually it will leave off some of your layers. Actually, before I do this, I just remembered that in our example of our A size title block, we did leave off the center layer, so I'm going to adjust that right now. So let's go ahead and type in open. And I want you to navigate to wherever you keep your A size title block and open that. Create a new layer. Let's make sure we call it center. I will add it and make the color blue, or cyan in this case. I'll go and adjust the line type by loading center to, then select it here. Okay. Close this, and then save. I'm using the quick save option, or you can hold down Control S. That's the exact same thing. Let's go ahead and close our A size title block. And now we'll switch back to our drawing. Let's go ahead and use the classic insert command. Browse to your title block and select the A size. Open. Make sure that you don't have any of this checked. And go to OK. You can see that the title block is located at 0, 0, 0. And that all of my layers have came. Let's go ahead and move this into position. So I'm going to go to Move, select my objects, give it a base point. I'll turn ortho off just so I have the freedom to move this. I'm going to move this down to fit inside of my title block. Once again, you got to make sure that when you're using these projections that you keep everything in line. So I'll turn ortho back on. Then I'll just move only this top portion. Click a base point and move it down. You can see that I don't have any dimensions above my object, so I can keep this a little bit closer to the border. Okay, so this is an A-size title block. Let's go ahead and fill in our information. So I'll type in ATE and select my title block. Project name for this one is Example 3. And underneath the scale, we didn't adjust anything, so I can make it 1 to 1. The reason I can make this 1 to 1 is remember that in the properties, and I'm just going to open my properties window up, so I selected my title block and then right clicked, go to properties, and you can see that scale X, scale Y, and scale Z are all sitting at 1. Since everything is at 1 to 1, I don't need to adjust my line type scale, but just to verify, I'll type in LTS, enter, and that should be set to 1 as well. Next thing I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the things that needs to be on the appropriate layers. So I'm going to highlight all of these lines here. Let's go ahead and make sure that that's on the hidden layer. Next thing I'm going to do is type in the center layer command. And then I'm going to type in what layer I want it to appear on. In this case, it's going to be center. Let's switch over to annotate. And then I'll use center mark. Select this circle. And select this circle. Let's use center lines next. And I'm just going to select this outside line here. And this line here. You can see that that's not giving me that line in between it, or it's not looking like a true center line. So select it and go to Properties. I just did a right click on that and went to Properties. And I think I'm going to leave my Properties dialog box open from here on. Line type scale, let's go ahead and adjust that and make it 0.5. Okay, the next thing I want to do is start putting dimensions on. So I'll make sure that my dimensions will be on the dimension layer by selecting here in the drop down and selecting dim. Next I'll adjust my dimension style. And I'll go to modify. I'll start with the lines tab. Give my baseline spacing a little bit more room. Underneath symbols and arrows, I will go ahead and change my center marks to none. Text. Let's go ahead and make it 1/8 of an inch tall, so by typing in 0.125. Underneath fit. I did not change this, so I'm going to leave this number at 1 since my title block is set to 1. Underneath the primary units, let's go ahead and give it 2 decimal places. And we do have the leading zeros and everything of that nature on our drawing. Let's go ahead and OK and close. Let's start dimensioning our linear dimensions. So I'll go from this endpoint to this endpoint. Now I'll place that dimension. Let's make another linear dimension here. Let's go ahead and put our linear dimension on our polygon that's in the front. Next, let's do our radius dimensions. So I'll place my radius dimension on here. Here. And our one in the corner. Let's go up to our top view. Start placing our linear dimensions. And you'll notice that I am picking the endpoints and trying to stay away from picking any kind of arcs. Let's do our linear dimension from this endpoint to this endpoint. Let's do a linear dimension from this endpoint down to here. And I see that I'm going to use a baseline dimension, so let's escape out of this one and redo this dimension from this endpoint up to this endpoint. Now I'll come back and adjust this one because it looks like my baseline dimension is going to run into that, but we shall see. Let's take a look at the baseline dimension now and select that endpoint. Just as I suspected that it will. So what I want you to do is select this dimension, select the grip that's on the text, then I'm going to place it at this midpoint. Let's go ahead and adjust our dimension here. So we need to put a diameter symbol in front of it. So select the dimension. In your properties dialog, scroll down until you find primary units, and I'll select a prefix on this one, %%C. Enter, and hit escape twice. Okay, so I hope this one was not too bad. It's nice and short compared to some of the other dimension or drawings that we're going to do that we have to put the title block and everything on. Alright, so I want to thank you for watching this one. I'll see you on the next one.